Welcome everybody to a phenomenally awesome episode of Buried Pleasures. I'm your hostess, Polly and Amazing. And tonight I have fucking awesome guests.
Permission to come aboard, Captain.
Yes. Hello, Pixie. How are you tonight?
Fantastic. How are you, Pollyanna?
Well, I'm not as good as those boobs are right there.
Boy, Jesus. I handcrafted my, I got them from my mother. Actually, no, I actually got them from my father's side. Oh. How weird is that?
Not weird at all. Not here on Buried Pleasures. Cheers. Come aboard. Oh my gosh. So thanks for joining me tonight for this Pirate Queen party that we're having.
Yes.
And we got a little late start because if anyone knows, Seattle traffic sucks awful on Friday. Well, every day, but Fridays especially. So we are here. We're ready to go. We have drinks. Yes. And did you say that you have a little guessing game going on Twitter Space?
I do. I asked everybody to guess my drink. By the time, hopefully, somebody will guess it, but we've got a couple of good guesses, but they're just not there on Twitter Space. So I'll give anybody who's guessed my drink stickers to my podcast.
I love it. I love your logo for your podcast. So let's talk about you. Who are you? Where did you come from? And thank you for being in my life. But anyway, just go. What's up?
Well, my name is Pixie. I am the hostess of Next on Stage 1 podcast. I was a retired stripper. I've been dancing for 22 years, so which makes me very seasoned on the high C. So I have a co-host, and he is also a male dancer. Nice. And we talk about everything in the nightlife under that umbrella, where we ask the dumb questions, we tell good stories. We get drunk during the show. We might partake in some of the Denver high life, and it's nothing but a good time. That there's a couple of bad curse words, but it's all in good fun. We don't do politics and we don't do religion on the show.
Awesome. Well, I mean, those are two things that could stay out of podcasting for sure. Anyway, thanks for coming here with me. And you're drinking. I'm having a little drink issues. We're definitely going to have fun. I remember you telling me that you had some really awesome music to go along with this show. Is that still a thing?
Do. Yeah. Let me see if I can. I don't know if you can. It's TikTok music.
Oh, we probably shouldn't. Let's not do any kind of infringing on anybody's copyright laws, because Jesus Lord, have mercy. We don't need that up in here tonight. Right. But the reason why I love you so much, honestly, is because this girl, we started talking. I've really started to embrace myself on Twitter, by the way. I really am fucking loving that. But it's really cool to find other people who are like-minded, who like to have fun and also like to have conversations. So thank you for accepting me on Twitter as a colleague. I am so happy that you're fucking here.
So what I'm seeing in podcasting and on Twitter is that there's just not enough strong female voices that kind of like crash through everything. Mm-hmm. If you're a female podcaster, you need to be a little bit more loud. You need to be a little bit more unique. You need to have something that kind of stands out amongst the crowd. There's plenty of true crime out there with lots of lady podcasters, mm-hmm. but they're not breaking through that veil. They're not charging forward. It seems like they're putting their podcast before them, and they're not utilizing the talents that they have. Right. So I feel like it's sort of like comedy, where some people just don't want to be in that limelight. Yeah. And I absolutely love it. I feel like that I'm kind of developing this crazy pixie character that I had in the strip club. Now it's on Twitter. Now it's in podcasting. Now it's like this wild animal that's free. Right. So I'm doing a lot of different things.
That's all right. And that's what, just because you started out as one thing, I started out as a nurse. Now I'm a nurse practitioner, sex educator, international podcasting giant, pirate queen. I'm just saying.
your jelly to the peanut butter podcast.
Oh yeah, and well,
he wants to be part of the Zoom drunken Zoom meeting tonight.
Oh, he does. I'm sure he does. I bet. Sorry, Jason. So yeah, we just started PB&J Table Talk with PB&J.
I love it. I think it's so cute. What a cute play on names. I mean, that's adorable.
If I could just sit and be creative all day long, that's all I would do. But somebody's got to pay the bills over here. So I've got to do that right now. But yeah, Jason is awesome. I have some really amazing podcasting guests and friends in general who are helping me try to get to where I want to be. Just like you said, I want to be a strong voice of women. I don't have excuses. I have ways and means, and that's how I'm going to get there. I'm just going to get my shit.
You have your own show to be able to bring people on, tell people good things, bring people up, and just have a great time. I mean, this is what everybody wants. If you want to be some sort of like local celebrity, starting a podcast is kind of that's the thing.
It totally is. And then you can be really famous in places like Mauritius. Did you ever know that there's a place called Mauritius?
No.
It's off the coast of Africa or something like that. I don't even know. And I'm sorry, Sunit, if you hear me. I'm totally messing up where your home is, but I have people all over the world listening to me and actually reaching out to ask questions on how can they, improve their sexuality, their feelings of sexiness. It's important for women. It's important for men too, but right now we're talking about ladies. Sorry, guys. We're going to exclude you for a little bit on that, but women need strong role models. That's what we need.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find them when we haven't been taught to be the strong role model that we should have been. Well, I mean, I don't know about you. I'm a little bit older. And so
wait, now you say you're a little bit older. Now I turn 41 next month.
Do you do? I just turned
how much older?
On the 14th.
Oh wow.
I know. I work night shift a lot. Yeah.
My co-host says that I'm not allowed to ask anybody what their age is, and I'm like, but I have to. I need to know how old these lovely people are. And he's all like, "That's rude." I'm like, "No, it's not."
Nah.
I love being asked your old age.
I answer if I want to, and I don't if I don't. But I've got a lovely 38-year-old husband that does me just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you're only as old as what you feel, right? I feel really old sometimes, like my drive home today, but sitting here
updating the computer. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Listen. So anyway, we plan to do this show at a certain time. I get stuck in traffic. I come home, I flip open my computer, of course, and it's doing that once every 6-month download of whatever upgrading shit it needs. And but I feel good now. I'm awesome. I feel relaxed. I'm super happy to be here because what we're going to do is talk about strong ass women. I appreciate a strong ass woman and I want to know more about you. Tell us.
Yeah. Oh, feel free to ask me any. I'm going to drink and eventually this mixer of elixir is going to loosen these lips as we sink these ships.
Oh my gosh. You will be my first mate every time. Every time I do a group. Yeah, I'm telling you, you're going to be right there. Right hand man, that's you.
I only had one good, positive, strong role model in my life before I got older. And that was my grandmother. My mother was not sure. I guess she was strong. She worked 2 to 3 jobs. She wasn't a stay-home mom. She did what she wanted. She didn't listen to my father. My father and my mother, they got divorced at a young age. And my life was not really very positive. It was kind of like, it was kind of a whirlwind. And the only positive person I had was my grandmother. She was this beautiful woman that, she made dinner. She kept her house immaculate. She knew she always had her hair and makeup done, and she was just this beautiful, like, wonderful woman. And I didn't get enough of that, I feel like, in my life. So now that I'm older and that I'm raising a mini me myself, I'm kind of seeing those things that are toxic, that I'm pulling back away from, that I'm graduating towards people that are strong, independent women.
That's
and that
what we need.
I talk to my mom like twice a year.
Yeah.
Just because of we don't really see eye to eye,
Gotcha.
and but there's other women that I've sort of adopted and I talk to, and it's more of a network of good women, and that's what really matters to me.
And that's what's important. I personally came from a long line of really strong and opinionated and I don't even know what you would want to call them. They were strong ladies, very, very strong. And my grandmother, honestly, you want to talk about a badass? This is how I like to tell people this story, because it really does shoot home to me, because I have daughters. I have a 16-year-old and 18-year-old daughters. And I often remind them of this story. My grandmother grew up in rural Kentucky, and her family was unable to afford to keep, basically to feed her and that sort of thing. So their neighbors down the road had money and could pay her as a housekeeper. And so they kept her as their housekeeper. And that's where she met my grandpa, who was 20 and she was 12. And then they got married, like, okay, it's my grandfather. He was always a beautiful person to me, but think about that, how that spins.
But how long ago was that? That was probably the 1940s?
1920s, actually, I think.
1920s. That's a long time. That's 100 years ago.
But still, it's there,
It's crazy, yeah.
It's there. And so I say 20s, maybe 30s. I know my mom was born in 48. So let's think about that. She was the youngest of 8. I have to think about that. But anyway, regardless, that still happened, even in my, like, I tell people, I growing up in Kentucky in the 6th grade, there were 4 girls in my class that were pregnant. Now that's you're 11, 12, maybe 13 when you're in the 6th grade. That's just the culture of where I came from, like you pretty much marry your high school sweetheart and that's the end of your life, basically.
Unless he cheats on you, and then then you take that child and you become a stripper.
There's no strip clubs back home. Anyway.
I actually made it to 17. So, I mean, it's a little bit.
Hey, listen,
I feel like
nothing wrong with it.
I feel like that kind of education, that you have to be willing to talk to your children and educate them. I don't believe that it should be on the school system to educate your child. I think it should be parents willing to openly. We're adults now.
Right.
We can have a sex talk with a child in a way that's reasonably aged for that child. If they're 3, you say, when a mommy and a daddy love each other, you do those kind of things.
Age appropriate. I get it.
Right. Age appropriate. You're not just like showing them, hey, this goes into this. I'm like, you're going to be a little bit better about it. Hopefully,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, hopefully we're sort of more evolved than our parents and then our grandparents. We've got all of these educational books that we don't have to fail our children nowadays.
Right. Absolutely. And I have, in my experience, I have friends who are way over on one side of they won't know anything until they get married and they learn it themselves, or all the way to the ones who start teaching them when they're like infant children. So I'm a little more in the middle of that, other than I started. One of the things I started to do whenever I was beginning to teach Tantra to couples and what have you, is that I put out there that I will teach sex education to your child. I mean, I'm a board certified family practice nurse practitioner. So I have some, knowledge of things, but kids don't want to know just the little basic stuff when they are starting to ask you. They want to know, how do things work? And so when they're curious, if you don't let them know, what the heck are you going to do? So in the instance of my 16-year-old daughter, when she was in maybe 7th grade, we were in rural Ohio. They have a class called Abstinence Till Marriage. If you've never heard of this, they give little cards that say ATM on them. Okay. Abstinence Till Marriage. And if you're out there listening to my show and this is awful for you, please just disregard it. But I'm going to say it. Abstinence till marriage. If you teach kids that, that's how you get how the world is now. It doesn't work. Hello. It doesn't work. This is not how, I mean, that's not how biology works. That's not how curiosity works. And no, do I want my 6th grader to go out and have relations with people? No, that's not it. It's, everything is based on your own maturity and that sort of thing. But abstinence till marriage. And then my daughter, of course, because she's been raised in this home where we talk freely, they can ask me questions. How much time on this planet do we have? Ask me all you can while I'm here, right? And my daughter stood up in class because they wanted them to sign the back of the ATM cards, abstinence till marriage, right? That you pledge that you will not have sex until after you get married. And my daughter stood up and said, nope, my mom doesn't say that at all. My mom says that if you love somebody, then you should be able to feel like you can share that love, and you shouldn't be scared or afraid of expressing yourself with your body either. And that's what I have always told them.
I think we should be teaching children consent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it okay to touch you? Is it okay to do this?
Boundaries and consent.
Boundaries and give the children their proper respects. When you're telling a girl she's 16, she's in high school, to cover up, but you're letting boys dress however they want. Yeah. You're not giving them the same respect you're giving both. You're not doing any of the mental health. You're not doing any of the checkup. You're not helping them through. It's not the school's job, but if you're treating one and not treating the other, and you're not treating it all in consent, mm-hmm. it works both ways.
Right.
And both genders should be able to. You should be able to tell them, look, it is not okay if X, Y, and Z happens. You need to be able to know that you need to be this kind of age. You need to know this is what's going to happen. Those kind of things need to be available for children. If the parents want to have this happen, apparently they're teaching the abstinence till marriage, so they need to have some sort of better sex talk. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're already getting that approval from the school,
right?
So might as well give good information.
Absolutely. It was really a stunning thing for me to get a phone call about that class, about what my daughter had said, because geez, I can't unteach her what I've already taught her, and I refuse to at that. She is a wonderful and fantastic, brilliant mind in there, and she's growing. And when you tell a girl, oh, you need to cover up because boys can't control themselves, honey. Yeah, no, that's inappropriate. It's inappropriate. What are you supposed to do with that information as a girl? No wonder women are afraid, because we've been made to be afraid. Yeah, don't do this. Don't stand that way. Don't touch that. Don't, that needs to be longer. Your hair needs, all of those things, whatever they are, all of that.
And then there's the other part of it is that there's not enough mental health resources. There's not enough. You've got one mental health individual in the school per every, more than 30 kids per person. Mm-hmm. You've got so many kids in high school. You got 4 different years, and you've got them corralled between A through F, and then they don't have it. They don't have it enough where if somebody is having an issue or if they're being pressured, there's not enough resources. Right. There's not enough I feel like children, they don't get their due. And when children are forced to be adults before they're ready to be adults, you know, if you fuck like rabbits, you're bound to have bunnies.
Right.
Those kinds of things happen.
Right.
And I'm one of those people who did that, who didn't have the resources. I didn't have a mother who wanted to teach me how to put on makeup, how to be ladylike. I'm very tomboy. I'm very boisterous, and that's who I am. But it would have been nice to have somebody other than her say, no, don't do that.
Right.
Explain it to me. Tell me what's going on. Be real with me. Not everybody's going to be on the same mental page, but it would be nice to have those resources available throughout all of the schools. I mean, a little bit more education goes a long way.
Right. Well, it's so hard to get mental health providers these days. I mean, the need is so heavy. And, that's the thing. That's kind of one of the things that I think about frequently after being in healthcare for all these years, is that as a healthcare provider, you give away your entire life to other people. And I can understand, like, I get that dichotomy that you need it, but I don't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? It's really terrible, but you have to be so guarded with yourself anymore. There's so many terrible things going on, but there's so many great things going on, which again, you were talking about Table Talk with PB&J. We're going to talk more about really cool and positive things so that we don't have to sit in that hate rhetoric 24/7. It's just have a nice time. That's it. Nice day, nice whatever.
I think it's great. I think we need more. Everybody goes, I don't want to be so positive. Well, if we're all negative all of the time, I mean, that weighs down on you just about being positive.
Right.
I think being positive and being a little bit kind to a random complete stranger, I think that could really help somebody, even in the long run. You don't know what somebody else is going through.
You're right. I totally agree with you. That's what my major thing. I tell every patient that I see every day that I work, if I can make you laugh or make you feel good for at least 5 minutes out of this entire visit, then that will exponentially keep going and going and going. And so I've affected maybe 25 people in a day, but maybe they've done another 25 themselves, and then over and over and over again. And I'm eternally optimistic. My mother ruined me by naming me Pollyanna because I really took it to heart, right? She always wanted me to be happy and helpful. Oh, whatever. I really do try to live by that, and it's not done me wrong. For sure.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I love being positive. I love having, I'm also one of those people who love. Yeah. You know what? I'm a hopeless romantic where I think that, yes, people can be happy. People can do whatever they put their thoughts and dreams towards. You're not a tree. You don't have to just stay here and be miserable. And those are things that people look at me and go, what is she talking about now? I mean, we don't have to live in this society and culture and we're just bombarded all of the time about all of this negativity. Mm-hmm. Everything's going to get you down. Just turn it off and go outside and play. I don't know. Right? It doesn't have to be so bad.
You're right. And there are so many cool things to do that are free.
Yeah.
So don't use that as an excuse. We were just in the river today. Man, if you never have been to Washington, I know Colorado's gorgeous, but the Pacific Northwest holds something so dear to my heart. I can't even explain it. It's the most angelic and wonderful thing. Every time I see the scenery here, I flip and love it. If you've not been, you should try it. Pacific Northwest.
Do you guys float down like on inner tubes and everything?
Oh, totally. We have kayaks. We do all that stuff. Man, the kids love it. And it's free, and they're actually doing activities, and we're all in the car together. Yeah. But I mean, once you get there and you get in and then everybody's dead tired at the end, it's a win-win situation for everybody. So I highly suggest it. If you don't get to, it'll be a shame.
Oh, it sounds fantastic.
So,
I'm planning a big camping trip for my birthday. I've got all kinds of big hopes and dreams right now.
nice.
So you never know. I mean, getting out, breathing fresh air, getting good sunlight on your face, and I'm a redhead, well, a fake redhead, but I have a lot of freckles all over, and I'm I'm really sunburnt right now, and those are the kind of things, like, I still want to go out, I still want to play, but I mean the sun hates me, so it's fine.
It's all right. I have a whole house full of ginger kids, so it's all good. we're all very pale, very freckly. You just can't
Yes,
see. I made
yes.
it. So um anyway, back to positive, strong female role models. I know you said your grandma was yours. Do you find, now that I know you're gonna have this 41st birthday? Is that what you said?
41st.
Jeepers, girl. You're still baby. No.
I
Anyway,
know.
who do you think you're the role model for? And think back about that. I mean, and not even your mini me. I know you said you have, but I mean, like, think about who you've worked with and somebody that, like, that's one of the things I've noticed lately, that we really don't put stock into what we do to affect other people's lives. I had a friend on the show a couple weeks ago, and she told me that I saved her life once. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't remember that. She's like, no, I came into the emergency room. You did da da da, and you saved my life. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. And I was like, oh, well, now I want to cry. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, think about that. You don't even remember what you may have done for somebody. You may
One,
not have any idea that you did something for somebody, and whatever it was that you did really impacted them to the point where now, even though you have no idea, they're shooting positive energy to you every time they think of you. That's an amazing thought.
it is. I like to, when I was in the strip club, I had a lot of, like, everybody was younger in the strip club because every year the new girls would come in, and I would always, I was the house mom, so I would always try and I would try and, like, scoop them up before, like, the bad girls get to them, because once the bad girls get their claws into a new girl, it's drugs, it's other activities,
Mhm.
it's a bad ethic, they're doing all kinds of dumb shit. I'm like, look, listen, if you just listen to me, I can help you make all kinds of money. What I need you to do is don't hang out with that person, and don't hang out with that person. I need you to just listen to me just once, Linda. Just listen, Linda. Just just give me just a moment of your attention. And I've talked to so many beautiful women
Yeah.
who have they've they've graduated from college. They're going through college right now. They started a business. They're taking care of things.
Mhm.
So many just fantastic single moms that they're just amazing. And it's really cool to be able to interact and talk with those people, and have such, like, uh, well, kind of a sisterhood,
Huh?
and it sounds kind of cheesy, but strippers and people that have been sort of in this umbrella of sex work, they kind of know already what you're going through, and they're sort of softer,
Mhm.
sometimes they're individualistic, and they don't care about anybody else, and they're just there to make money. But when you get down to the core of it, there's a lot of fantastic women, and
Yeah.
they would give you the shirt off their back
Uh-huh.
just to be able to help you. As long as you don't screw them over, they're going to give you the shirt off their back.
Right.
Even if you do screw them over, they'll probably still give you the shirt off their back. you know I mean,
Not
there,
before,
there's
not
kind of a
before those
reason.
hoops go and shoes are off. Let's go.
Well, there's sort of a a mentality in dancers that, you know those ladies, the ones that actually give a shit, they're really kind, they're really sweet, they're independent, they're very strong, and they're willing to put themselves out for their customers, for their friends, for their families. And sometimes there's a lot of takers in that realm of people, and they just kind of well, they take advantage of those really lovely people. So it's really it's interesting to be able to, help people, mentor them, and kind of guide them in sort of a way. I'm kind of a mama bear in the strip club, so
Mhm.
uh,
I might
I'll
have
rip,
thought that about you. That's why I asked.
I'll rip into somebody. It's not the first time or the last time, and I think I'm sort of transitioning that over into podcasting, where I'm starting to grab new podcasters and
Mhm.
bring them in and
Yeah,
like kind of shake them till like the lights come on and
yeah,
tell them, hey, look, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, and this could really help you. And I think that's where I'm going with my podcast journey,
yeah, yeah.
is trying to be a leader instead of
Right.
just a social media menace.
Social media menace Pixie. That's you.
Yes,
Um,
that
no, you know, it'd be super cool is that one day that we're all sitting at the long table of all of these amazing, or at the top of the list of the most amazing female podcasters for 20 years. That's where I want to. Let's do that. Can we do that? We'll both be in our
yes.
60s. We'll be baller, still doing sex podcasts. That's what, you know what? This is one of the funniest things ever. I always tell my kids, like, I can't wait till your grandkids can only hear their Mamaw Pollyanna. Oh, by the way, I'm not Mamaw. It'll be Pretty. I will be known as Pretty
I
Pollyanna.
just I decided I wanted Baba Yaga
Oh, nice. Well,
because I wanted to scare the
from
children.
John Wick. Baba Yaga
Well,
is that?
actually, Baba Yaga
Oh,
is
Baba Yaga.
folklore.
Okay.
He's a
Yeah.
he's a
Right.
very scary folklore,
Right.
and I thought it'd be cute as if my grandkids called me Baba Yaga,
You're so
and
funny.
then
That is
and then somebody
awesome.
would hear that. Baba Yaga, somebody made me angry. And so like, I'll be like, who did it? Who made my sweet innocent children? And I could just become the crazy grandmother. And
Oh,
then I could
right.
mess up at Comic Cons handing out jewels to children.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna be friends until we're in our like hundreds. This is awesome. This is the first time that we've actually talked to each other, guys, just so you know. And it's as if that this is the most awesome planned out podcast ever, because it is. But this is blessed awesome. I've not drank on the podcast for a long time. The guys from Just on Podcast for Advanced Practitioners, they get drunk all the time, and I'm on there sometimes, and it's very difficult to be on a show with two grouchy men when you're trying to laugh about stuff, you know.
Yes, yes. Oh man, I can't tell you how refreshing this feels. It's so nice just to be able to like giggle and laugh, and a lot of us need to remember that is that sometimes you just have to break away from the herd, and you got to like just sit down and get back to the things that made you happy. If the rain makes you happy, if going out to the mountains, if those little things make you happy, if sitting alone reading a good book, enveloping yourself into a world that just sings to your heart,
Mhm.
take time for yourself. Take just a little mental, turn off the electronics, turn off the TV, get back to being happy about being alone with yourself. And if that doesn't work, well, get some friends together, a good girlfriend, and have some drinks. Cheers.
Right. Cheers. I'm so happy. Thank you. It's very fortuitous that we have gotten together, because now when we go to make our, like, let's say our Pirate Queen panel of podcasting ladies, That's going to be, pretty amazing to have a bunch of women just blowing things out of the water.
Ooh, we should come up with some sort of like the commissary of crows or something.
Ooh. The commissary.
The cackle of crows. Crows are just
murder. Is it a murder?
It's a murder. Well, since there's only two of us, it's attempted, right?
Attempted.
Attempted murder. I think crows are they're really intelligent. They're really beautiful.
Sure.
They like shiny things. What can I say?
Right. There's nothing wrong with them. They're awesome. That is so funny that you said that. I absolutely love you right now.
I love you too. Oh man. Oh, by the way, no one has guessed so far my drink.
What is wrong with
They
you?
are there's lots of guesses and nothing yet. They did get the peach slices.
Oh, did they?
They did get, yeah. So
All
one
this
out
time
of
I thought it was
three-
ice. I swear. All this time I thought it was ice.
There's ice in there, but there's peach slices.
Oh, nice. I did see. That's how
Frozen peach slices. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this drink all nice and cold.
Fancy. What in the world would a girl have in a drink with peach slices?
Yes.
Never know.
Party time, you know.
So you think that like when you started your podcast, because I know where I was with my podcast, I wanted to teach everybody about tantric Buddhism.
Ooh, fun.
That's what I wanted. But then I realized I needed to do a lot more inner work before I ever thought about doing that, right? Like on a serious note.
Basically, you had to break them in slowly before you could break them in.
Right. But
like guiding them.
Right. And so that is, like think about the saleability, let's think the saleability of a pirate chick sex talk or tantric Buddhism.
Right.
Right. So yeah, so that was the thing. And after the reason why I even first started doing podcasting was because the guys from Just Some Podcasts were looking for nurse practitioners that have weird jobs, right? Side jobs. And I had known Tom, who is one of the podcasters, and his best friend, Ben, was like, dude, bring her on the show. And so we did this show and it was the most fun stuff. I was like starstruck immediately. Like I was so happy and elated that I needed to do it immediately again. Like, come on, ask me to be on the show again, please.
It's like
crack cocaine.
It's like a hit of dopamine every time.
Sure.
Because as long as it's it's a fun conversation, you're like, yes, I want more. I need this, and it's something like we crave as people. We crave that, like listening to stories, the passing on of information, all of these good things, and then it's in an audio form, and I can listen to it again if I want. Right. This is fantastic. Right. Hit me again. Hit me. It's like
right. Absolutely. And that's what I wanted. I was like, dude, I'm struck. I'm done. Let's get it. Come on. And when I told my husband that I want to start a podcast, he's like, right. Let's not even do like, what are you thinking? And then I said, but we'll get to buy new gadgets, right? Like new technology. Oh, he was down immediately. He's like, oh yeah, hell yeah. New technology. Let's go. So he was, we were at, and this is during the pandemic, obviously too. And so can you find any piece of furniture, equipment, any kind of anything in the Seattle area? That would be a no, because all the tech companies sent everybody home to work from home. There were no desks, no desk chairs. I mean, like you couldn't get shit from Amazon and it was a wreck. So we found this really cool music store and got all kinds of mics set up and all the stuff that you need to have an effective podcast that I don't even use half the time.
I was still in the strip club when I was basically asking strippers, if I did a one-on-one with you, would you be willing to tell your story? Because I feel like you have an interesting story, and that strippers have interesting stories, and they lead interesting lives. And this could be such a positive because you're a good person. I wasn't asking everybody to be on my podcast. I was just asking the handful of girls that I knew and I trusted that could hold a conversation, that could look you in the eyes, And,
Right.
I was like, what would the format be? What would it look like? And I was like, do I sit down and write a whole bunch of questions? Do I go off the cuff? What is it going to look like? And then the pandemic hit. Everybody was all excited. I had a name for my show, which was Next on Stage 1. I was really excited that it was going to be about strippers. I knew nothing about podcasting. My husband's like, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I went out and I bought a $100 mic all before, right before the pandemic hit. I bought a Behringer. I bought mic stand. Mic stands. I bought too much stuff because it was all stripper money, and stripper money is a lot different than regular money because it spends a lot faster.
Oh yeah.
So I here I am thinking everything's going to be okay. Pandemic hits. They closed down the bars. We were like the first people that were like, okay, fine, I get it. We're sitting on people's laps like cats. Maybe we should close down the bar and just be safe. That's fine. We closed down the bar. I was okay because my husband was still working. Everything was fine. I had a little bit of fun savings. Everything was fine. My husband decided that he was going to jump from that job to owning his own business at the same time, and things just kind of snowballed. I actually bought something that I wasn't supposed to buy that was not podcast related. Yeah, so you're gonna laugh at me. I'm a little nerd, just a small one, just a tiny chipmunk of a nerd, and I bought an action figure that had.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay to laugh because the story gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Hasbro Pulse does crowdfunding for action figures. And the action figure was a Marvel Hasbro Sentinel who happens to be 26 inches tall, 6 inches thick, has more than 32 points of articulation. I bought it back in August, almost a year ago. Yeah. And guess what? I don't have it yet. Oh, it's still being produced.
Oh my God.
I spent $350 on an action figure I don't even own during the pandemic with stripper money. Cheers.
Money.
So live your dream, folks. Live your dream.
That's right. Well, stripper money's money. Spends all the same.
Yeah. And so here I am with the podcast. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing yet. My old boss I used to do private parties, and my old boss, he just hits me up and goes, hey, would you like to do a podcast about action figures? I'm like, strange enough, would you like to do a podcast about strippers? And he said yes, and I said yes. And so we kind of got together. We talked about it. He had a blue snowball microphone, which is terrible. Yeah. We decided that we were going to record 4 episodes. Before we started, we did a whole bunch of research. Our first 4 episodes sounded like we were talking in a long hallway. It was terrible.
Yeah.
There might have been 2 cans with a string strung together. That's what it sounded like. very tinny, but
Yeah.
the stories are really good. The chemistry is really good. The other podcast didn't get off the ground, but Next on Stage 1 did.
That's
So
all.
it's kind of one of those things is that you've got to jump for what you want, even if you don't know what that is.
Right. And it's okay if it changes too in the middle.
It's okay if it
Right.
changes.
It's always okay
And
if it changes.
and it totally has. We have 44 episodes. Some
Yeah.
of those are bonus. We do our seasons about 20. Well, we do our seasons at 25 episodes each. So we're looking at doing 50 episodes. We're getting real close. We'll hit 50 episodes and we'll hit our 1 year mark right at the same time.
Nice.
And it's been a fucking journey. It's been like this awesome thing because every weekend I get to hang out with my friend Jay and we get to talk nerd shit and we get to talk stripper stuff and we just get to have such a good time where it lasts for hours.
That's so cool.
And sometimes you just need that.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. That's kind of what, like, in all honesty, John from Lost Losers and Colin from Trash Panda, that's why I freaking absolutely love their Skype calls, because it's like, I swear, I think I'm homesick sometimes. That's why I like to listen to them all together. Like my family's not around anymore and they're always talking about something absolutely fucking ridiculous, like beyond ridiculous shit. And it's like, oh, okay, 5 hour energies. What? You had what? Okay. All right. Cheers.
When I used to play Magic the Gathering, that's what they all did was 5 hour energy drinks. And it's like, you guys are ridiculous. He's like, I knew one guy who was selling them to other Magic players during tournaments. He's all like, yeah, I got the good stuff. No, I only have the regular flavor. You should have asked me in the beginning. I'd like the berry in the back. You really got to try. I was all like, are you really hustling 5 hour energy drinks to these poor men in here that are trying to play a Magic card game? Lord. Lord.
There you go. Cheers to that.
Cheers. I've done so many weird things that I'm just trying to figure out where I'm trying to be
Right.
in life. A lot of people don't hit that mark till they get to 40. Right. A lot of people they just paddle so fast to stay in place, and that's what I've been doing all of this time. Mm-hmm. I was a postal worker. I worked at a card game shop. I've done everything from modeling to fans only to being a stripper to, well, other adult work, mm-hmm. and it's kind of interesting to see the develop of my character and who I want to be. There's always been that foundation of who I don't want to be. So I've been steadfast on the things that I like, the things, basically my line in the sand.
Yeah.
I've always demanded, consent and respect, mm-hmm. and just the core base values that everybody should have.
Right.
And so when it comes to putting myself out on the internet and taking my clothes off for money, it's always been about, is this what I want? Mm-hmm. Is this how I want to treat myself? And when it gets too far and people cross that boundaries, I'm completely good at breaking somebody's face.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you kind of got to know where you're going to go with your life, and if it takes you till you get to 40, that's okay.
Right. And maybe sometimes even after 40.
And sometimes after 40.
I mean, again, shit changes every day, dude. That's why I always tell my kids, listen, you can make a decision. You will have to face the consequences of that decision, but also you can change your mind as many times as you want.
Yeah.
That's how life
Pick a star and go for it.
Right. Right. And that's what I think I've tried to do. And I'm so glad that I met you too, because I want to surround myself with people who are, you're reaching for the stars. That's what we're doing. We're talking, we're learning about other people. All this shit is super cool. And it just makes you think more. And the fact that you're thinking more, that's what we need. We need to think more. We need to collaborate more. We need to do all kinds of cool shit so that other people can reap the benefits of that positive energy we're putting out there. That's my thought on that.
Yeah. And I think if we're open to discussion and open to learning things and willing to, if something's wrong, say, hey, can you help me with that?
Yeah.
That really matters, because a lot of people, most people will just continue down a certain path without asking for help. And if we could just be like, hey, could you help me with that? Oh, sure, I can help you with that.
Right.
It's not a problem.
Right.
As long as you ask.
Right.
And as long as I say
a
it's
request,
okay.
not an expectation. Yeah. That's it. You're requesting. You're not expecting it to happen, but you're requesting. And I think that your intention behind that is exactly what it makes it what it is. That's pretty awesome.
Okay. It is. It really is. And this is so much fun.
This is fun.
I'm gonna need another drink.
Well,
I wonder if I can.
I've got to
wonder if I can get my pool boy to serve me some.
So cute. I want to eat dinner, but I'm also intrigued about more stuff with you. I'm wondering,
what do you need?
I was going to say, should we cut this one short and then have you on again?
I'll come back. I'll ask permission to come aboard all of the time.
You know what? I swear nobody said that until you, and so now I'm so happy.
I think when you send out requests, you need to be as the captain, everybody asks for permission to come aboard. Oh, they have to ask for permission to be part. You're asking for permission to record.
Right.
So now it's permission to be part of this awesome thing that you're building.
Man, that's why I always say, when people are on Twitter asking for new podcasts, I'm like, jump on board. Buried Pleasures.
Oh man.
What we can dig up.
so what I need you to do is I need you to use that podcast recommendation. I need you and your followers to use this podcast recommendation. Absolutely. Don't just throw it out. Don't when you use that podcast recommendation, somebody's willing to ask you that question, but you need to ask them an open-ended question. What's your favorite buried pleasure?
Oh, see, that's awesome.
So, and when you ask that question, they're asking, hey, does anybody have any podcast recommendations? Well, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite buried pleasure? Yeah. And then they'll say something like maybe a kink, maybe they're into anime. You can be like, well, I want to recommend buried pleasures. So and then have your listeners promote you, give you word of mouth. That's the best thing that they can do for you.
Yeah.
It really is.
I know you are a wealth of information. All in a little tiny package over there. Jeez.
You're more than welcome to pick this brain, because I feel like I'm not very good at execution, but I'm very good at thought process.
I like it because I have zero thought process right now, other than I'm really hungry. You can't drink and record at the same time when you're hungry.
Well, with that, let's cheers. And I'll give you my salutations. Cheers.
And wait, thank you. Please, Pixie, tell me again, where can they find you? Where can they find you in the Twitterverse?
You can find me on Twitter, which is next on stage 1. It'll have Pixie and my awesome face, and maybe copious amounts of my chess, I did do a really awesome photo shoot for my podcast. But next on Stage One, the podcast about strippers, we have 42 years in the industry. Me and Mr. J, we do a new episode every Monday where we talk about everything that has to do with strippers and entertainers and that fun umbrella. You can find us anywhere available. We're on Apple, iTunes, Spotify. We're on probably about 30 different players. You can Google us. We'll be there. Thank you, Pollyanna, for having me on your show. This was lovely.
Oh my gosh, thank you for being so gosh darn awesome.
I'm going to eat these peaches.
Eat those peaches. They are delicious. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Just Some Podcast Media.